Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters, man. These Europeans, these Westerners, my friend, man. The way they, the way they were managing us, still they don't manage us like too far from London in America, too far in Eritrea. It's really amazing. There's so much systematic, So this is a proper. It's called micromanagement, remote management. I guess when you just sober down and you have that cool head and you try to reflect in retrospective and what was happening in your life after you have some break. uh, that's when you realize how much they were messing us up like crazy. When I came into this country in 1995, they took me first to Hounslow. It was a temporary hotel. I think I stayed there maybe for 1 month or something, 20 days. Then from there, they brought me right to the center of London, somewhere in Medieval. It's called the Edgware Road, okay? It's where all these Arab, rich people, all these casinos, gambling, my friend, and in this Hyde Park, this Hyde Park corner, where even I think people say, is it Marx or Engels or Lenin? I'm not sure. He did a lecture, this Hyde Park, Speaker's Corner. So they brought me to a place called Clarendon Court Hotel, okay? It's near this Elgin Avenue, this little river where you have these boats, like house boats, okay? So Edgware Road in Medieval, that's the area. So they brought me into a hotel called Clarendon Court Hotel, okay? So there were a lot of Eritreans, Ethiopians, Sudanese, some East Africans, Yemeni, Arabs, and Ethiopians, I'm not sure Somalian, a bit of Somalians, and they had this Montenegro, Albania, that was the time they had this Herzegovina in Czechoslovakia, all that kind of stuff, wars. So they had people there, so they had, it was bed and breakfast. So we used to have early morning breakfast. So I used to have a guy called Kidane from Mandafa. He was my roommate that was showing the flat at fourth floor. And there was this guy called Theodros. I think he lived in France, Paris for a long time. Short guy. Before that, I think he was in Saudi Arabia because he speaks Arabic fluently, So he was really joining us from Bayswater, all that kind of stuff. So it was a place where all these Arabs, rich people frequent, okay? So the hotel, the breakfast was managed by a Polish lady. I forgot her name. Not sure her name was Anna or Katrina. She had a son, the long hair son, and the security was kind of Bangladeshi or Pakistan. I'm not sure, but his name was Frankie. I think it's Frankie. I'm not sure whether Frankie is the name of this Polish lady's son or Frankie, this Bangladeshi security officer. Okay, so people like Daniel Tadese, Biniam, Henok, all Kuvlom, they call him Masfan, they call him Arada. So he had a friend, roommate called Elias, very skinny guy into cannabis and drugs. He was roommate. I think he went back to Addis. I think he's of Tigrayan origin, So who else? So these were the people. There was a guy called Daniel as well. I think at that time he was studying at university. He used to live with his mom. There was another guy, Pakistani-looking guy, kind of Daniel. He committed suicide. He was into Pentecostal church. So people like Danny Tadese, Biniam was just kind of teasing this guy called Frankie and all that kind of stuff. I think the guy was into cannabis. These are my friends, regular friends of mine, especially Daniel, So they had people called Menna and Hapte. These were people. I think Hapte is like this Aukabad, meaning people, a guy who was pretending as if he's just crazy. Menna was, I think he lost it. I think these guys, they came from East European countries. I think Menna used to put all detergent on his hair so that, because he was getting bald, because he wanted to he had to grow up, so he was just rubbing it with detergent. Like sometimes, my goodness, it's crazy area, man. It's like this ghetto prison service, like and so much inhumane. So Manna lost it. Hapte lost it. I'm not sure whether I heard Manna returned back to his country. Even Hapte returned back to his country. Hapte was a very handsome guy and very proper. And this guy, Arada boy, like he was a very handsome guy. But my friend, he just would play you, like I was very fond of him. Like he was really cool, and and Arada guy. He was very handsome and very playful. He was into this cannabis and cigarette. All of them were smokers, okay? But Manna was really badly kind of like, heat. Often this is the kind of things that this country, Western countries, they mess up your brain, I heard he went back to his country, both of them, Hapte and Manna. Guys, if you are alive, hello, okay? Just say hello. So Daniel, we meet now in London. He lives somewhere in South London. Biniam, I think I met him somewhere in West London at a Shrine Church near this Shepherd Bush, Westfield. So the church has gone to what's it? Wisdom Junction now. That's our church. Okay. So this was a hotel that we went to, So we used to have a guy called Tesfai. I think it's somewhere from around Sanafa. He's roots, but he's a marine guy. Like he'd been to Saudi Arabia. So he was relative to this Razana Abadi. And there was this girl called Maaza. So Tesfai, I think he fancied this Maaza girl. Mama had that daughter, okay? I think she was not interested in his advance. So there was a big kind of family fighting. I think they're closer, kind of like, and his mom was called Mama Hanat or something like that. He's got his son now, a bit autistic, So he passed recently. So this man is married to this guy called Yamane. He's got really funny kind of like this jaw, kind of this really mandible. Okay, he's from around the Kamhare. So she married him and she's got kids. Okay, so this family feud between Tesfai passed recently. Okay, so Mamad Hanat, hi. So this Razane, these are kind of like from the same area. So you got this Hyler guy. He's a trainer somewhere. I think maybe schools or something now. Okay, so that's where we said. Okay, so that is Razane Abadi, a guy from Bashar. I think he did his chemical engineering studies with Hapte, passed away. Rest in peace, Razane and Razane Abadi went to university, South Bank University, doing chemical engineering. Okay, so they didn't get a job. So to cut the story short, so because I wanted to focus on this Razane Abadi. Okay, so I had a cousin called Razane. He was a diakon. Okay, originally. Medium height, a bit shortish, from my village area. He's a close family member. When I say close, like maybe 3 or 2 generations away. So his older brother, Negasi, is really super cool guy. I have a lot of respect, like So when I went to Addis Ababa in passage to come to the UK, we were taking this motorcycle driving lesson, like so my goodness, it used to be in the Piazza area. Addis Ababa wasn't that much kind of developed at that time, okay? So we were taking motorcycles, so like I had to put him with me, okay? Negasi. So we took the motorcycle, so they were charging you per hour. You would drive, then you give them the money, okay? So they wait for you at Piazza. I took the motorcycle all to the Bole airport now, like it's really posh area now. That time was sparsely populated. It was open space. Now this is just really, kind of like it's Manhattan, all that kind of stuff, But that time, I took the motorcycle, my friend. I was driving it. At that time, they didn't have a traffic officer who follows you. Like I was driving like crazy, my friend. I was very young, like kind of a bit arrogant, like youth arrogance, okay? Negasu was behind me. I was driving like crazy, my friend. That speed, and then Negasu was screaming, "You gonna get me? You gonna get me?" Like he's a guy that I do have a lot of respect. He's kind of like a leader, brother, older brother, leader figure. Negasi is like, hey Negasi. So he's been living in Saudi Arabia for so long time. Like he was a guy who was kind of inspiring me when I was a kid. Negasi Teke. Okay. So Resene is his younger brother. They're not brothers by mom, okay? So Bahabolo is now in Switzerland, he's the brother of both of them. So Negasi, but Negasi is just kind of like a cool guy. His wife, Akhbarat, Abrahastam Hamile sister, and what's his name? Michele مراته. Okay, أخبرت مراته. استحمله أبرها مراته. Brahane was my friend, be shortish. Michele is short as well. Binyam was their brother, son. I think his dad was kind of like a martyr during the Eritrean Revolution, okay? He's in Sweden now. So, just to give you the focus camera, okay? What do they call it? A bird's eye, kind of like, zooming the historical perspective of my narration, okay? So, Rezene was living in Sweden. So, he came to Eritrea, I think somewhere in 1992 or 93 or 91. I'm not 100% sure the exact year. So, he brought this walkie man, okay? So, it has earphone, headphone, and everything. So, he had an album. Michael Bolton, Diana Ross, okay, Phil Collins, and Luther Vandross. Luther Vandross. I didn't know Luther was a gay man. Anyway, so he hired to me. Rezene was living in a hotel. So he came from Sweden, Posh guy. He used to be a diakon when he was young guy. So he just left it, and like he was living like a normal life. I think I heard his wife was from somewhere from Adogara. So this Eop from Adogara chasing me all in London. Like that's the reason. Okay, so they separated sometime later. So Rezene was kind of like our family member. He just gave me the Walkman. For me, it was kind of posh thing of like young guy, teenager. Was showing off in town, like, impressing all the people. Like, so these albums, Michael Bolton, Diana Ross, okay, Luther Vandross, Phil Collins, okay, mind it. Phil David Collins Charles, okay, now you go King Charles, okay. So Phil Collins was a big time. That time he was not that much as bold as now, okay. So he lives somewhere in Acton, West London. So that all that Gold Hawk area, okay, Shepherd Bush, Hammersmith, whole area was my turf, kind of like my domain that time, like young guys when I came into this country in 1995. Okay, so when I was living in this Clarendon Court Hotel, we had a guy called Akhbarom. He was into this interpreter to this law firm. So okay, my lawyer for the immigration was called Mr. Harbinda. Mr. Harbinda is like when I try to Google what his name means, it's like this God kind of figure, person who just always meditates, like kind of really respected name. Okay, so he had office somewhere in London Bridge, near this guy's in St. Thomas Hospital. Okay, behind it, like so Mr. Habinda was the lawyer for this immigration asylum that I came in this country. So Akbarom was the one who was facilitating and interpreting what I was saying. I could have spoken in my own English, but obviously he was into that career. Akbarom was a really lovely guy for me, to be honest, like so Akbarom, when we were in the hotel, Clarendon Court Hotel, he used to bring a lot of women, okay? One of the women was Gannet. She's from all of them are, by the way, from Mandafara area, okay? Gannet. Froini was really warm, beautiful lady, beautiful, extremely very bubbly lady. So I heard she went to Sweden and she passed away. She married there and she was living there and she passed away. Rest in peace, okay? So Gannet, Froini. Another one was Jerusalem. Jerusalem was shorter, big kind of chocolatey, darker. Not just darker, but medium. Color, very, very, very beautiful. Well, very reserved and very petite. She had this kind of like boots, shoes, because I do remember her vividly, like a bit okay. She kind of here. She wouldn't just talk. She wouldn't start a chat unless you push her. She's very reserved. I heard her families are very posh by the Eritrean standards. Like they had a pharmacy in Adwala. They used to call her Jerusalem Gwal Member. Like I remember one day, I think we had a kind of like this feeling, click towards each other. Be shorter, but that time my friend, I was very young and she was much older than me. Even if it wouldn't work if I approach. Okay, so this lady, Jerusalem, now lives somewhere in Ealing, Acton, where this film called David Charles lives. Okay. She used to tell me, hey man, can you believe it? Like when I was young, I used to fancy guys, with the bigger lips like you. Was kind of, I was feeling chuffed about it. Oh my goodness, oh, she's so sweet, man. But I was very younger, and my mind was like, somewhere this country, my friend, immigration, they were just controlling us like crazy, my friend. Okay, like a machine. Okay, so anyway, uh, uh, Akbarom was a very nice guy. You got Sancho was behind him. So Akbarom is from somewhere at Hola. Sancho is from somewhere Hazaga or Azega. Amateur guy from Addis. Okay. Okay, so they used to have Eden and a big eyes. I think now she's married and she told me she lives somewhere in Addis Ababa, just back into London again. Eden was one of them. They used another lady called Abarash. She used to have a hostel somewhere in Bala. Okay, these are the group. Elsa, now she had a row with her boyfriend, so he slashed it all around and he committed suicide by jumping from a big tower. Okay, somewhere. She's at the church St. Michael. She's Elwister. Her sister, what's his name? This is Elsa and I just mixed their names. So Elsa is a kind of like this screen guy kind of thing. Her sister. Okay, so these are the team. Okay. Okay, so fast forward. So this David, Phil Collins, Charles David, is the guy in point. Okay, so these albums, my friend, Britain being Church of England, all this Lutheranism, okay, and Rosane living in Sweden, Stockholm. This is carefully done in a really systematic way, my friend, okay? So they are preparing me for the future. So you go, Diana Rose, Princess Diana, okay? Michael Bolton, who shall I say, like, Michael, obviously, like, perhaps Hamila brother, could be, yeah? And now my ex-wife brother was Michael. And the church near our house in Ade was Michael, okay? Like, the whole thing is just proper setup, okay? So Diana, as I said, Luther Vandross, I don't know why, I don't know. But the guy was like a gay, I don't know that, you know? Okay, so who else? My Phil Collins, Michael Bolton, Diana Rose, and Luther Vandross, okay? But this was the way they were trapping me all these series, okay? So the focus is Rezane now. Rezane passed away recently, probably 5 years ago in Sweden, Stockholm, okay? So I was transferred to this guy called Rezane Abadi, okay? Mark. The guy is from Abashad. So I got introduced to him, I think via Tesfaye, the guy who passed away. Then Daniel Belletza was his closest friend. So Daniel Belletza married to a lady called Almas from my area, her parents, but she's as Marino. So these people were, my friend, driving me like crazy all 30 years, okay? So this Razana Abadi, because he wants to take over from Rosane of my family member, cousin, who passed away recently. So Rosane is just Asmarino from somewhere in Bashal. His wife, he married a lady called Freud that we used to live together, YMCA. I think she came from Saudi Arabia, like, she used to be a teacher before that, but like, she was in Saudi Arabia doing all that kind of like, job. So this Rosane, my friend, that was the system that they were chasing me everywhere, okay? Because of this Rosane cousin, he used to be a diaconate when he was a young guy. He just brought me all this album music from Sweden. So this Rosane took over. He was kind of like my foster dad, or if you would try to call that way, okay? So these people, they were crazily driving me like crazy. So this foreigner hacked my ex-wife, my family. So they got control now with all her team gang, like this what's his name? Adarash, Amina. Amina used to work for this little break, welcome break, Portuguese farm. It's like this Cafe Nero and Starbucks. Like, they had in highways and traffic places like cafe shops, okay? So I know Amina, Daniel Tadese, Biniam, all of us, we used to work together, okay? She's a friend of this foreigner, okay? Rosane, Abadi wife. And her sister is called Adarash. And you got this Eop, Agazen, Eop Bre. That's Fatse, okay? These are the clan, my friend, including this Adulis restaurant owner. This was how they hacked us. I went out of their trap, okay? Because I was able to meditate and find out what exactly was going on. What was the reason? Okay, so you got King Charles, my friend. And you got Phil Collins, David Charles. That's the whole thing, okay? Drum is all the song, because these were albums that I was, fan of listening as a young guy. So they want to control my friend because I was listening to these albums. Can you believe it? Like, can you believe it, my friend? Can you believe it? Just really unbelievable. Unbelievable, man. So this was Rezene Abadi and his wife, Froini, all that kind of stuff, my friend. That was the reason why it was happening. You got this Lutok Vandross passed away. Phil Collins is still alive. So the area, Acton, Ealing, is where this lady, Jerusalem, is living now. Okay, from somewhere at Douala. She's from somewhere at Douala, and she lives around the area. Okay, so this Catholic Church of Eritreans from Holland Park, they move it towards that end. Okay, so this is a place that, like, you know, I know it like my palm hands properly when I was young at that time. Okay, Shepherd Bush area, all this West London, where Phil Collins, David Charles was from. Okay, so when I went to university, we had this American called Mr. Briskin. He used to lecture us in tutorials about assembly language, all that kind of machine circuitry. You know, you got all this digital, how you connect them on the electrical wires. They is called fundamental formalism, mathematical kind of calculation. You go, or you try to kind of piece them together as a computer motherboard, all that kind of stuff. So Daniel Gabriel was one of us. Hermes Zacharias was one of us. Ndale and Tedros Odajo. Okay. So this Brisky was a lecturer. He's American, very short man, white man, okay? So he went to America, I think, after he taught us first year and second year. So our exams and tests were taken in Twickenham. Well, I did my undergraduate degree at King's University, you know, as in Surrey, upon Thames, okay, where all this Western London, you go Hounslow, okay, Wandsworth, Richmond, Chiswick, all this area, my friend. So Chiswick, we had another exam as well, Mr. Brisky, okay. So recently they had this Eritrean opposition called Mr. Brisky, Grimsky or Brisky, whatever, like, you know. So that's how it is, my friend. Phil Collins, David Charles, now we got King Charles, okay. Their whole idea was they wanted a male to change into gays, like a King Charles' brother. This was why they were micromanaging us straight from Eritrea, my friend. Family networks. They get into your family and they drive you into zombie land, okay? This is a proper homosexuality, like all these Europeans, my friend. You know? They go there, all hemophilia, blood, and everything, man. Like, you don't see it in the media, but that's what they were doing. Like, you know? So there's a buddy was working at UCL hospital. Okay, the ambulance is still there. A lot of people were dying. Yeah, these people underground, they crush and slash your throat. So this Daniel Bellet and Rezen Abadi and his wife, Froini, has got hold of my kids and my ex-wife. Guys, so this is the story, how it is. Okay, so in case they trap you, especially my kids, I'm extremely worried. The amount of influence, control they have over all our family networks and everything. Like, you know, it's something that we should be very cautious, like, you know, and be brave enough, like, you know. You just squash them, like you put a stahamile, kind of like a stahamile kind of thing, like, you know. So this is how you manage them, my friend. Okay, thank you very much. I'll put all the literature work of the profiles of Luther Vandross, Diana Ross, Michael Burton, what is all of them, like, you know, they are Wikipedia information. Okay, so for you to read more and to relate what was going on. Okay, adios. You have a lovely day. All right, I just want to show off as well. Okay, this is glowing color of the sun. Okay, see you guys. Bye.